Right now at 6, Missouri Southern evacuates students in a dorm building that catches fire.
Oh, we've got some clouds rolling into the Joplin area, thunderstorms across parts of southeast Kansas. We'll have a look at that and the forecast to get you out the door coming up.
Plus, businesses and residents are struggling as they deal with a boil advisory in Galena, Kansas.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 6 a.m. I'm Elise Noe.
I'm Chris Warner. It's now Thursday here in the 4 states and getting ready to close out that first full week of August. And we started out pretty darn toasty through the weekend.
Yeah.
Boy, by Sunday it was uncomfortable to say the least.
Felt like August then, but this morning really didn't.
Yeah, we've had a couple of below normal nights out there, and we've got some more below normal temperatures on the way, and that will also start to include our daytime highs, which means you want to get outside, get something done in between some rain shower chances. It'll be a great opportunity to do it before it heats up again. We're also tracking some thunderstorms this morning, so we're going to start with our camera at 7th and Rangeline. As we're starting to get a little more daylight, it's going to be a little harder to see, but we've been watching the lightning from thunderstorms off near the Chanute area, so roughly at this point about 80 miles from our tower cam site, and unfortunately it doesn't always show up when we want it to, but quick lightning count on some of those storms out there. It's come down a bit. There was some right there. We're about 33 lightning strikes in a small zone along some storms out there. MoDOT camera 20th and Rangeline also looking pretty good this morning, so I want to get right to these storms across the parts of southeast Kansas. So nothing severe, but some of you may be waking up somewhat loud. We had a lot of lightning with this activity initially, but again, that lightning count has come down. It's all part of this bigger batch here. Now, as we've been talking about through the morning, or if you're just joining us, the computer model data, and computers, I love them, but sometimes they're not always the most resourceful thing on the earth, seems to still suggest that this activity is going to begin to die out as it heads further east and just bringing a few showers further east. However, Mother Nature, as you know, will do her own thing, and at least so far she is. So from Garnett down to Iola, Chanute, showers, storms, Yates Center, you're getting ready to get in on round 2. Burlington, you're just kind of wrapped up in it. We just tracked this line a little further south. Erie, Parsons, getting ready to get in on some shower and thunderstorm activity. Webster, Fredonia, you've got more thunderstorms off to your west. And as we look at the bigger picture on this, you can see where this line is really developed and filled in here and is building to the south. And then we've got this line that's developed and filled in. We've got another one. It's not doing as impressively, but it is trying to build back behind it. So again, the computers say it's going to start to die out. We'll see exactly how Mother Nature wants to do it with it. Either way, we're getting some much needed rain. This is what the computers say. Again, heading into the afternoon, we're still looking at that opportunity for some isolated to widely scattered showers and storms across the area through the afternoon and early evening hours. And after that, we'll begin to clear out ahead of some additional rain chances heading into the weekend. 68 in Joplin as well as Pittsburgh. And our temperatures this morning from northeast to southwest, they get gradually warmer. So we go upper 60s into the low 70s. So again, not that far from normal. So a pretty comfortable start to the day for us. Our highs today, relatively close to average, upper 80s, low 90s. Depending on who gets rain and how much cloud cover you see, that's of course going to impact what your ultimate high temperature is. And we do have that limited chance for a stray shower or storm heading into the afternoon. We're going to continue to monitor the storms this morning, see exactly how they pan out. We'll talk about those below normal high temperatures this weekend in the full forecast here in a few more minutes. Elise?
Thanks, Chris. Well, the fire triggered an alarm and the evacuation of a Missouri Southern dormitory building yesterday afternoon. Firefighters were called to the Quad E building and found smoke coming from a column attached to the structure. Missouri Southern tells us a contractor had cut into an electric line which sparked the fire inside the column. No one was hurt. MSSU says the incident will have no impact on students returning to campus in the coming days. And to be the first to see breaking news, weather, and sports, you can download the KOAM News app. It's, of course, available free of charge in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. Just search for the KOAM News app. Well, Miami City Councilman announces his resignation. The news came before this week's City Council meeting. According to the City of Miami's Facebook page, Justin Pittman resigned from his position as councilman and trustee, citing health reasons for his decision to step down. Pittman's resignation leaves the Ward 4 seat on the Miami City Council vacant for now. Well, Galena, Kansas residents and businesses are struggling with an ongoing boil advisory. The Kansas Department of Health and Environment issued the boil advisory, citing concerns about Galena's inability to maintain proper chlorine levels. Officials say that put the water system at risk for bacterial contamination. The owner of Sweet Creek Diner and Bakery in Galena says when she found out about the advisory, she was forced to close in order to prepare to safely serve customers.
We used that time to prepare, and we went and got bottles of soda for customers and bottles of water for brewing our coffee, and anything that we could do that enabled us to open on Tuesday.
Galena city officials say they're waiting for the results of one final sample, and she hopes the Kansas Department of Health and Environment will be able to lift the advisory sometime today. The couple is restoring a historic building in Fort Scott. KOAM's Anthony Saviello has more on what they plan to do with it once it's complete.
It had a fire which destroyed a lot of it, but not all of it, and then they had another one shortly after that, and it totally destroyed the whole inside of the building.
What is now just an empty shell of a building could soon turn into this.
We want to get along, and we want to give to this community, and basically that's kind of what we're doing.
Luana and Al Neese are taking advantage of what is known as the Schultz Payne building in Fort Scott and are hoping to give it new life.
I think this building would have been demoed because nobody would have tackled this. There's just no way you could have done it any much less than what we're doing it for.
At one point, the building was falling apart at the seams, but now the seams are shored up and the building is ready for its makeover.
Obviously, we couldn't save the other stuff, but we can save this. We can save the shell, and hopefully this building will stand for another 100, 200 years.
Despite complications that come with restoring such an old structure, the excitement is building not only within Al and Luana, but the surrounding community as well.
If this building could talk, I can't imagine what we would learn. Because you learn so much just by opening them up and looking.
Reporting in Fort Scott, Anthony Saviello, KOAM News.
There is no official day when restoration will be complete. However, Luana says they hope to have the building restored by spring of next year. And that's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes, coming up on the KOAM Morning News. Some Delta Airlines passengers sued Delta in a class action for refusing to refund passengers. Plus, Vice President Kamala Harris and her running mate, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, push ahead in the Southwest. And Chris Warner returns with another look at your Thursday forecast. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back, but first, it's National Pickleball Day. Here's a live look from the pickleball courts at Lincoln Park in Pittsburgh. Topping Nation Watch this morning, Disney parks are facing slowing consumer demand in the face of higher prices. The company says its domestic park business underperformed expectations last quarter. Disney said attendance remained steady and people were spending more at the parks, but a slumping economy was weighing on travelers. Inflation helped drive the decrease in income. New technology and rides also ate into profit. Meanwhile, Disney says its streaming service turned a profit for the first time. This comes after the media giant announced Tuesday it was raising prices for Disney Plus, Hulu, and ESPN Plus. Financial aid forms are going to roll out late this year for many college students again. The 2025-26 free application for federal student aid will be released October 1st, but that's only for some students. For others, it will roll out over the next 2 months. It's supposed to be ready for everyone by December 1st, and the Department of Education says this is so it can test changes that have been made to the form. It comes after a glitch-filled rollout of the form last December for the academic year just getting underway. Delays were so long, many students still didn't know how much aid they had been granted when deciding where to go to school. Well, some Delta Airlines passengers whose flights were canceled when the airline's operations were impacted due to a global tech outage have sued Delta in a class action. The lawsuit accuses Delta of refusing to refund passengers or issuing only conditional refunds amid mass cancellations. The July 19th outage caused by a glitch in an update from cybersecurity firm CrowdStrike paralyzed Delta and hundreds of other companies around the globe. Delta did not fully recover its operations over the weekend of the outage, though its competitors did. The suit also alleges Delta refused to provide affected passengers with meal, hotel, and ground transportation vouchers. Delta, CrowdStrike, and Microsoft are battling publicly over who's to blame and who should pay for the outages. Well, Vice President Kamala Harris and her running mate, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, push ahead today in the Southwest with their Battleground State campaign blitz. Yesterday, they spent the day in the upper Midwest, where they had a close encounter with Republican Vice Presidential nominee J.D. Vance. Jared Hill reports from New York.
In their first full day together on the trail, Vice President Kamala Harris and Minnesota Governor Tim Walz Wednesday took their fight to battleground Wisconsin and Michigan.
We each face a question. What kind of country do we want to live in? A country of freedom, compassion, and rule of law, or a country of chaos, fear, and hate?
At rallies in Detroit and Eau Claire, Harris and Walz took turns making their case against the Republican nominee, former President Donald Trump.
He has no understanding of service because he's too busy servicing himself.
Trump's running mate, Ohio Senator J.D. Vance, has been counter-programming.
First, I want to say how great it is to be here in Eau Claire, Wisconsin.
With events of his own in the same cities, even approaching reporters near the vice president's plane when their flights overlapped at a nearby airport.
I just wanted to check out my future plane, but I also wanted to go say hello to the vice president and ask her why Kamala Harris why does she refuse to answer questions from the media?
Today, Harris and Walz head to the Southwest, sweeping the Sun Belt, crucial to success in November. Jared Hill, CBS News, New York.
The Harris-Walz campaign said it raised $36 million in the first 24 hours after she announced Walz as her running mate. And that's a look at some of today's top national stories. Here's Chris with a look at your forecast.
Now we've got some showers and thunderstorms out in parts of southeastern Kansas. Chanute, you're just getting through some. Yates Center, Howard getting into shower and thunderstorm activity. Nothing severe out there by any means, but we're going to see how this complex continues to develop. As we've talked about this morning, model data, the computers seem to suggest it's going to begin to die out. But looking at the latest radar trends, that may not necessarily be the case. We'll have a full look at your forecast, talk about some cooler temperatures down the road here in just a few more minutes.
A Virginia woman, along with her girlfriends, are creating homemade fidget mats to give to people with special needs. Michaela Shilton reports.
Be kind. That's the message from the Saltines, a group of girlfriends who are making illuminated learning for all, or MILA for short.
I wanted to help my granddaughter, and this was one way I could do it.
Pennsylvania County local Brenda Strickland was frustrated by the lack of sensory-friendly options for her autistic granddaughter, Mila. After lots of research, she began knitting homemade fidget mats for Mila, who, although is nonverbal, expresses her love in many ways.
She laughs. She gives hugs. She's just loved by everyone, that's for sure.
Seeing how much Mila loved the mats, Strickland called on the Saltines to help her spread that love to others.
As a person that was born with a cleft lip and palate, I know what it's like to not be that perfect child. And so I want to make everybody feel perfect.
On Monday, the Salty, beach-loving friends gave around 20 fidget mats they made to the nursing home in Gretna.
We know that our residents are often people that have worked with their hands and they're used to a working mode. So being able to use these fidget mats or busy mats on the occupational therapy side will be a real asset.
The tight-knit group will also give them to local schools for kids with special needs.
And these mats actually have literal bells and whistles and even zippers. I mean, anything you can think of that people can fidget with.
Because autism is a sensory disorder, I think it really helps them because they like to line things up and they like to touch certain things. I'm hoping it will help all children who have that disorder.
Since starting 6 months ago, the group has made 40 fidget mats. But this is just the beginning as Strickland spreads her wings and her message for Mila.
I just want to spread kindness any way I can.
Now here's Chris with a quick look at your forecast.
Yeah, we're continuing to watch showers and thunderstorms out in southeast Kansas. We'll have a full look at those storms and how the weekend is shaping up when we come back. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. It's coming up on 6:23 now on this Thursday morning. We're starting with Skywatch Storm Tracker. We've got a number of showers and thunderstorms overspreading a good portion of southeast Kansas this morning. So we're going to start with a bigger look at this whole complex. You can see just some heavy rain up to the north along I-70 from Salina to Kansas City. And this line stretches all the way back down to Ponca City. We've had one line ahead of it, and we had a second line develop. And these two are beginning to almost merge together here around Chanute. But good news is so far no severe weather with any of this activity. So again, from Garnett down to Bronson to Erie now is where some of the heavier thunderstorm activity is. And we've had upwards of 30-40 lightning strikes with this activity. So probably some somewhat loud start to the day for some of us. Now, Iola, you're in between Yates Center. You've got some additional thunderstorm activity coming your way. Chanute kind of the same way, some moderate showers, but in between a couple of batches of thunderstorms. We head south. We got one little cell right over Parsons right now with 3 or 4 lightning strikes in the last several minutes with just this one cell here. And then as we head further to the east, Fredonia, Coyville, thunderstorm activity rolling in and back into Elk and Chautauqua counties, Howard, Lafayette, Sedan, Cedarvale, getting in on this thunderstorm activity as well. And as I've mentioned, computers, you can love them or hate them. The computers, and I just looked at the newest data, still suggest that this activity is going to be almost dead by 8 o'clock this morning, and then just a few remnant showers following that. So again, we'll see what Mother Nature decides, but at least right now, it's not dead, and we're getting some much needed rain across parts of southeastern Kansas. So here's another look at some of that computer data by noon, suggesting a few isolated showers and thunderstorms still remaining, and we'll have an opportunity for an isolated shower or storm as we head into the afternoon and early evening, but the majority of us will be dry as we head through the day today, or at least later into today. We'll have mostly clear skies overnight tonight, maybe an isolated shower or two on our Friday, but it's really a less than 10% chance of rain on our Friday at this particular point. Saturday, though, is going to bring some better chances. By early morning off to the west, we've got a decent batch of showers and thunderstorms. Still no severe weather expected, but by 9 a.m. you can see most of southeast Kansas and into Oklahoma getting in on some shower and thunderstorm activity, and then it'll be scattered as we head through the second half of our Saturday before it clears out. And then we'll see additional storms overnight Saturday into Sunday as well. Beautiful coloring in the sky from those thunderstorm clouds off to the northwest of Joplin City. It's 68 right now. Wind is variable at about 3. Around the region, temperatures, again, a little below, a little above, relatively close to average, though, upper 60s to lower 70s as we get this day underway, so a fairly decent start for us. So I'm going to end up updating this just based on the latest radar trends. We're going to go ahead and add that opportunity for some isolated showers or storms through the morning, and we'll still go about the low 80s by 11 o'clock. As we end of the afternoon, again, an isolated shower or storm possible, so that's why these icons are up here. So you may see one or two of those storms. Highs today, again, hot but seasonably so, upper 80s, low 90s. We head into the evening, another below average night. Skies clearing out back into the mid to upper 60s. We'll still be pretty decent tomorrow, a little cooler, low mid 80s. Saturday looks, aside from storm chances, take a look at that high, upper 70s. We'll start to warm back up to normal toward the first half of next week, and then could see temperatures upper 90s, maybe even some low 100s toward the end of next week. Let's check your forecast. Now here's Elise with Health Watch.
All right, thanks, Chris. Well, e-cigarettes are the most common tobacco products used by teens with real dangers to their health. But a study in JAMA found that text message intervention programs can help teens quit successfully. An automatic program sent interactive text to teens to support them after they committed to quit and improved results by 10% compared to a control group. The researchers say it could be a cost-effective treatment method that's simple to scale broadly. A commonly prescribed nausea drug may be a new tool against the spread of breast cancer. Scientists at Rockefeller University found a link between breast cancer cells and sensory neurons that release a signal triggering the cancer to travel to other parts of the body. The scientists found the drug called aprepitant can disrupt that process in mice, and it paves the way for human trials and other potential therapies. And researchers at the University of Copenhagen say they've discovered new information about how cocaine affects the brain. The drug binds to the dopamine transporter, a protein that regulates dopamine levels and stimulates the reward center. The scientists say it could help them better understand substance abuse and potentially create a medication to help people battling addictions to cocaine and other drugs. And that's a look at some of today's top health stories. We'll be right back. Right now at 6:30, the city of Fairland, Oklahoma celebrates the opening of a Boys and Girls Club.
And we've got a beautiful sunrise in Joplin this morning, thanks to clouds from some thunderstorms out in southeast Kansas. We'll take a look at those storms and that forecast to get you out the door coming up.
Plus, student musicians in Carthage taking band camp ahead of the school year.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Well, good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 6:30. I'm Elise Noe.
And I'm Chris Warner. It's Thursday here in the 4 states, and we're getting closer to Friday, getting closer to the weekend. And temperatures are going to cooperate as we head into the weekend. But
which is always nice.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
We've had some wild temperature swings
Certainly.
here in the last, say, couple of months, honestly. And they're going to continue. But first, let's get you out the door with this. This is a beautiful shot of the sunrise from our camera downtown Joplin on the Cornell complex, and those clouds are the leading edge of some showers and storms to the west. And when the sun was a little lower, we were getting a nice pinkish hue over the city from the thunderheads from those storms off to the west and northwest of Joplin right now. And as I mentioned, as the daylight comes up, it's a little harder to see the lightning out there, but earlier this morning when it was still dark, you could see the lightning on those storms about 80 miles away, 85 miles away out there. MoDOT camera 20th and range line also looking pretty good this morning. Let's talk about those storms. So here's what we're looking at, rolling into Bourbon County, knocking on the door of Crawford County, stretching back to Chanute, Yates Center, Howard, Sedan. Nothing severe, which is great, but we are getting some much needed rain out of this activity here. And we've had, again, upwards even just in this little complex, 30, 40 lightning strikes in just a few minute window. So definitely some loud storms for some of us. So Fort Scott, Mound City, get ready for these thunderstorms to be rolling in. Erie, you're getting them now. Chanute, you're kind of in between the heavier batches of rain, but still getting some storms. Iola, you're almost in the eye of this little complex. Yates Center, more thunderstorm activity rolling in for you. We head a little further south. We had this cell right over Parsons. Initially had 3 or 4 lightning strikes within just a few minute window. Still continuing to shove off to the east. Independence, Coffeyville, Fredonia, you're getting in on it. If this activity holds, then you'll be starting to see those storms in the Montgomery County within the next, I'll say 20, 30 minutes. So again, the computer data, and I'm not trusting it this morning, says that all of this is going to die out within the next hour and a half. But based on the radar trends, even though there's not as much intense rain out there, it's not really weakening all that much. So I think we're going to see these storms push a little further east and stay intact a little longer than what the model data suggests. But still, nonetheless, some isolated showers and storms out there. And we could see some redevelopment. It'll be isolated to widely scattered, but a few additional showers or storms possible between, say, noon and about 5 o'clock this evening as well. Quick look at temperatures, 68 in Joplin and in Pittsburgh right now. We're starting to see again the clouds increase. Temperatures relatively close to average this morning, upper 60s into the low 70s out there. And our highs today relatively close to average as well. I'll see again that chance for some showers, maybe a couple of thunderstorms heading into the afternoon. Then we'll start to dry out by the late evening hours out there with our highs upper 80s and low 90s. We're having another detailed look at your forecast and those much cooler temperatures on the way here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, Chris, thanks. The Boys and Girls Club cut the ribbon for their new location in Fairland, Oklahoma. They offer tutoring, after-school care, and other activities for kids ages 6 through 18. This new location was created through a partnership between the club and the Cherokee Nation. The CEO looks forward to bringing their services, like childcare, to Fairland.
This is rural Oklahoma, and the need for after-school care and summer care is large because many parents are commuting to work into other towns, and so what do their kids do after school? And so we create Boys and Girls Clubs in rural communities in Oklahoma to ensure that kids have a safe place to go after school.
Tribal leaders, city leadership, and donors were in attendance at yesterday's milestone event. The city of Joplin wants to give the public a chance to weigh in on some transportation issues. The Joplin Area Transportation Study Organization, or JATSO, will open a 7-day public comment period for the fiscal year 2025 Unified Planning Work Program. Now, the program lists the transportation studies and tasks as well as member agencies to support the metropolitan transportation planning process. The public comment period begins Friday at 8 a.m. and concludes on Friday, August 16th at noon. We have a link to the proposed program on our website. That's KOAMnewsnow.com. While the world continues to compete for Olympic medals, these tiny athletes compete for cuteness. NICU babies at the Freeman Hospital in Joplin put on their best game faces while dressed as proper Olympian athletes. These athletes represented everything from wrestlers to swimmers to track stars and more.
Because his doctors are like saying how he's a fighter and how he's so strong, and I just view the Olympics as like people who are strong and fighters and just fight through anything and everything.
All of these NICU athletes are worth their weight in gold. Well, the school year is just around the corner for Carthage high schoolers, and the band students are already preparing. Band camp, which runs through Friday, gets the student musicians ready for the upcoming school year by practicing fundamentals like marching and rehearsing music. Yesterday, they practiced marching without their instruments.
It's kind of you have to think ahead, like 6 to 10 steps. Like you have to think like, what am I gonna do next? How does it line up with the music? It's just it's kind of a process to where if you're not fully engaged with it, you're not gonna be in time with everyone else.
And in case you were wondering why so many students seem to be on an electronic device, the Carthage Marching Band uses an app to help the student musicians learn marching patterns. Well, the Ottawa County Fair is underway this week with activities for the whole family. Yesterday afternoon, animal shows took place, including dairy cattle and sheep. Then later, the carnival opened up for the first time this week.
My brothers and sisters always showed cattle, so I just wanted to try it out. I just always loved it. Highlights, just really helping out.
The fair runs through Saturday, August 10th. And now to look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. McDonald's is beefing up its combo meal by giving away collectible cups. And we have a warm and partly cloudy day today. We'll have what to expect with Chris Warner in the Skywatch Weather Center. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back, but first, it's National Pickleball Day. Here's a live look from the pickleball courts at Lincoln Park in Pittsburgh. In Consumer Watch this morning, Americans are tapping into their home's value at rising rates. New economic data reveals home equity loan debt is piling up. Patrick Cornell talks about the pitfalls and best practices.
For 9 straight quarters, balances on home equity lines of credit rocketing up. The Federal Reserve Bank of New York reporting $4 billion added to that amount last quarter, $40 billion over the last year, totaling $380 billion in outstanding balances. Many Americans have seen serious increases in home value in recent years. On average, U.S. homeowners have more than $200,000 in equity that could be accessed, but prepare to police your spending.
There are no rules about what you do with the money. So when you pull the money out, you can do with it whatever you want. You can go to Vegas, you can go to Disney, or you can hire a contractor to redo your kitchen.
Bankrate's Jeff Ostrowski says there are good reasons to unlock that money, such as renovations to add value to your home or paying down high-interest debt.
Borrow only as much as you need. If the kitchen project is going to be 50 grand, borrow 50 grand.
Be cautious when using that equity for other investments or paying off education loans. With the average rate sitting above 8.5%, there are risks.
It's a little bit risky right now to tap into your home equity for investments. I mean, I'm not saying it can't be done, but it's probably not the wisest move.
One major red flag, Bankrate reports millennials are more willing to tap into their home's value to fund vacations.
If you have to tap home equity to afford the vacation, you can't really afford the vacation. So if find a cheaper vacation to save some money.
For Consumer Watch, I'm Patrick Cornell.
Federal safety officials say the number of people sickened after consuming recalled microdosing diamond shrooms edibles has surpassed 100. The recalled products include infused cones, chocolate bars, and gummies, and the potentially toxic products may still be on the market. An update from federal regulators says more than 40 people were hospitalized, including 2 children in Arizona, and there are 2 possible related deaths. Consumers with the product should discard these items or return them to the company for a full refund. McDonald's is beefing up its combo meal with a nostalgic giveaway, a collectible cup. The collector's meal will offer one of 6 different cups that'll bring customers of all ages back in time, including designs featuring Hello Kitty and Peanuts. They'll be available starting next week. And fashion house Dolce & Gabbana has launched a new alcohol-free perfume for dogs called Fefe in honor of the brand's co-founder Domenico Dolce's poodle. The company says it has been certified suitable for animal use, but not all veterinarians agree on the use of perfume for dogs, as it could interfere with their heightened sense of smell. And that's it for Consumer Watch. Here's Chris with another look at your forecast.
Yeah, we're taking a look at some showers and thunderstorms on the Skywatch Storm Tracker overspreading southeastern Kansas. So again, as much as I like computers, sometimes I don't trust them, and I'm going to stick with what we're looking at in terms of radar trends. We're continuing to see this complex roll off to the east. So now Fort Scott, you're about to get in on it here before too much longer. Chanute, you're kind of still in some of that moderate rainfall. Iola, you're in this little eye here of all this heavier rain. Yates Center, Howard, Fredonia, Sedan, Parsons, that little cell's picking back up again. So that also means Pittsburgh, eventually you're going to run into some of these thunderstorms. Now, if the southern end continues to hold together as well, we're eventually going to get into Independence, Coffeyville, through Montgomery County as it continues to roll off to the east. So again, the computer data says all of this is going to die in a little less than an hour and a half, or begin to die. But you look at the radar trends, and that really doesn't seem to be the case. We're starting to also see in these last few frames almost a southeasterly turn. So if this continues to hold, it'll eventually cross into Missouri and then parts of northeastern Oklahoma as well. So we'll keep an eye on these storms for you. I think the best news is, or two great pieces of news. One, there's no severe weather with this, nor are we expecting any. 2, we're getting some much needed rainfall across parts of southeastern Kansas. We're going to have another look at your forecast, talk about some much cooler temperatures on the way. Here in just a moment, we're also going to celebrate birthdays and anniversaries. But first, here's what's happening on CBS Mornings.
I'm Vladimir Dutip. Coming up on CBS Mornings, David Boreanaz joins us to discuss the 7th and final season of CBS's hit military drama, SEAL Team. That's coming up on CBS Mornings.
All right, time for some Thursday birthdays in the 4 states. We're going to start in Pittsburgh with Bowie McHouston celebrating birthday number 2 with love from Oma and Pop Pop.
And over in Seneca, happy 8th birthday to Carter Borland.
And in Neosho, Samantha Akey celebrating birthday number 10. This is KOAM's traffic assistant Debbie Haynes' granddaughter. A very happy birthday to you, Samantha.
And over in Parsons, a happy 16th birthday to Josie Bauer.
And we've got Ace Barcelona celebrating birthday number 17. Happy birthday, Ace.
And a happy birthday to JJ Kendrick celebrating birthday number 18.
And in Galena, Darren Combs celebrating birthday number 20. Says, happy birthday, Dad. Love, Knox.
And over in Carl Junction, a happy 40th birthday to Max Meringue.
And we've got Kaysen Buckle, celebrating a birthday today. Says, have a fun day. Love, Mimi and Papa.
Continuing her birthday list with a very happy birthday to Mary Ross.
And we've got Olivia Harkins in Pittsburgh celebrating a birthday today.
And a happy birthday over in Jasper to Jason Earl, turning 51.
And celebrating number 52 just to your north is Corey Pitts in Lamar.
And over in Pittsburgh, a happy birthday to Doug Eller.
All right, another great list of birthdays and anniversaries, and of course a few more messages. We love those messages. If you would like to celebrate with us, Elise, what should they do?
Yes, go ahead and submit your birthdays and anniversaries to birthdays@KOAMnewsnow.com. Be sure to include photos in any messages and to, of course, meet the deadline that you see there at the bottom of your screen.
Absolutely. And today, maybe if you have the day off, it's a good day to sleep in a little bit, especially in southeastern Kansas. Look at all this thunderstorm activity. Just with this cluster here, nearly 20 lightning strikes within the last few minutes as it continues to push into Crawford County and sliding into Bourbon County as well. So just going through some of the model data again and National Weather Service data, there's some other meteorologists and weather folks out there that are noticing the same trend, that even though the computer said that this is going to die out, it's not necessarily doing that. Now, out to the east here, the environment isn't nearly as favorable to maintain these thunderstorms, and they are starting to run into some more stable air, but we have just enough ingredients and just enough lift across parts of southeast Kansas that it could push this a little further to the east before it starts to die out as it crosses into Missouri. So we'll still continue to keep an eye on it. For those of you getting rain, though, it is a much welcome sight. Sedan, Howard, and Elk and Chautauqua County, Fredonia, shower and thunderstorm activity out there along 166. We're going to slide a little bit to the east. Independence, you've got some rain showers around you, but you've got some heavier thunderstorm activity just immediately to your west. And Coffeyville, you'll probably be getting in on this activity in the next hour or so as well. Parsons, you just got done with a storm that formed almost right over the city, kind of died out a bit and has picked back up. Erie, getting some light showers there, some heavier rain still back to your west. Chanute, now you're kind of in that little eye with some light showers, but you've got heavier rain back to your west. Yates Center getting in on the action as well. Iola, some lighter showers, but eventually that'll pick up. And then as mentioned, if this continues to hold as it rolls off to the east, Fort Scott, Girard, Pittsburgh, you'll be getting in on some of the shower and thunderstorm activity as well. So now the question will be how the atmosphere to the east impacts all of this. If it weakens it enough that it dies almost completely, as some of the computer data suggests, or will it just bring it down where it's not necessarily thunderstorm activity, but still maybe some much needed rain into southwest Missouri and northeastern Oklahoma? So we'll again keep an eye on all this. Part of a really big batch of storms. And I said we had a line that tried to get going back behind all this. It has not really been all that impressive. This activity is kind of soaking up all the energy that's out there across southeastern Kansas. And if you look closely in the last few frames, you can see it's almost starting to try and take a southeasterly turn, and we're seeing new development of light showers right here, right ahead of this batch. So we'll continue to monitor it. Again, the good news is not anticipating any severe weather out of this activity. And the other part of the good news is, again, it's some much needed rainfall out there. So here's what the computer data still suggests. Some of this activity still there, but dying out by the time we reach the noon hour. And then behind that, we could see a few additional isolated to widely scattered showers and thunderstorms by about 4 or 5 o'clock. That clears out and will be mostly clear overnight tonight. As we go into our Friday, maybe a less than 10% chance of an isolated shower or two at this particular point. If that changes, of course, we'll let you know, but not looking at much on Friday except some cooler temperatures. Clouds increase overnight and into Saturday morning, and that's when another good round of showers and thunderstorms. No severe weather expected, mind you, but some showers and thunderstorm activity could start to roll in through our Saturday. It'll become a bit more scattered by the afternoon, and by the evening it begins to clear out. And then we have additional rain chances on our Sunday. We're going to take another look at your forecast and talk about just how cool it's going to be on Saturday. You're going to like some of these temperatures here in just a moment, as well as the news you need to know. And when we switch over to Fox 14 at 7 a.m., California man was saved from a near-fatal heart attack when several Good Samaritans came to his rescue.
And here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. Galena, Kansas residents and businesses are left struggling with an ongoing boil advisory. The Kansas Department of Health and Environment issued the boil advisory, citing concerns about Galena's inability to maintain proper chlorine levels. Galena city officials say they are waiting for the results of one final sample. The Kansas Department of Health and Environment could lift the advisory sometime today. Well, Justin Pittman has announced his resignation from the Miami City Councilman. The news came before this week's City Council meeting, and according to the City of Miami's Facebook page, Pittman resigned from his position citing health reasons. Pittman's resignation leaves the Ward 4 seat on the Miami City Council vacant for now. The city of Joplin wants the public to weigh in on some transportation issues. The Joplin Area Transportation Study Organization will open a 7-day public comment period for the fiscal year 2025. The public comment period begins Friday at 8 a.m. and concludes on Friday, August 16th at noon. Now, to check out today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
We've got some showers and thunderstorms out there this morning. Those will continue to roll off to the east and eventually begin to die out. But that will leave us, though, with an opportunity for an isolated or widely scattered shower or thunderstorm heading into the afternoon by about 5. Those chances are done. Our highs today, upper 80s, low 90s, so seasonably hot out there. Skies begin to clear through the evening and overnight. We'll fall back into the mid to upper 60s, so another below normal night. And then we've got a few days of below normal high temperatures. Low to mid 80s tomorrow, upper 70s Saturday, low 80s on Sunday. Shower and thunderstorm chances out there. Those continue into next week. We get back to normal by Tuesday and Wednesday, and then the heat returns by the end of next week.
Alrighty. Well, coming up today at noon, we're making broccoli and ham quiche in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
And your morning news continues on KOAM with CBS Mornings. Team USA is closing in on 100 medals. Ahead on CBS Mornings, meet one of the stars of the Olympic breakdancing team that's making its debut at the Paris Games.
Or you can switch on over with us on Fox 14, where your only local morning news continues. This morning, Jerry Sidden joins us in the studio to talk about the 50th annual Ernta Fest.
Plus, Dustin Luno from Joplin Fire Department also join us here in the studio to talk about back to school safety, because that is just around the corner.
Yes, it is.
Well, thank you so much for joining us this morning. It's going to wrap it up for us for now. We'll be back here tomorrow at 5 a.m.
And we'll see you today at noon.